Lines. The President arrives in Antigua and Barbuda to participate in the SIDS conference. The President emphasizes the urgent need for easy access to financial assistance to countries like the Maldives to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. And the Vice President states that teachers and parents have been urged to fulfill their responsibility to build every student as important role models in society.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdusatar. And now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Moise arrives in Antigua and Barbuda to participate in the 4th International Conference on Small Island Developing States, SIDS. During the summit, President Dr. Moise will deliver the national statement at the plenary of the summit on May 27th. His agenda includes pivotal engagements with various foreign dignitaries and the delivery of remarks at select side events convened during the summit. President Dr. Moise assumes the distinguished roles of a Vice President of the conference and co-chair of one of the 5 interactive dialogues organized by the United Nations UN for this occasion. The UN holds the conference on SIDS once a decade. One of the highlights of the 4th International Conference on SIDS is the adoption of the new program of action, the Antigua and Barbuda Agenda for SIDS. This year's conference is conducted under the overarching theme of Charting the Course Toward Resilient Prosperity, signifying a collective endeavor to navigate the challenges and opportunities inherent to small island nations. President Dr. Mohamed Moise emphasizes the urgent need for easier access to financial assistance for small island developing countries like the Maldives to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. He made the remarks in an article published in The Guardian.
Highlighting the persistent threat posed by climate change, particularly sea level rise, President Dr. Moise underscored the Maldives' long-standing struggle in addressing this existential challenge. Since 1989, the Maldives has been at the forefront of raising awareness about climate change on the international stage, recalled the President. The President said that 35 years have passed since Maldives brought the issue of climate change to the attention of the international community. Reflecting on the past 3 decades, President Dr. Moise lamented the adequate allocation of financial aid to combat climate change, with small island developing countries receiving a mere 14% of the total assistance. He emphasized the disproportionate vulnerability of nations like the Maldives to the impacts of global warming. Calling for re-evaluation of the current criteria for distributing financial aid, President Dr. Moise asserted that the existing framework fails to account for the unique challenges faced by small island nations, such as the Maldives, hindering their access to crucial assistance. Furthermore, President Dr. Moise highlighted the effects of being categorized as a developing country, which has limited Maldives' access to financial aid reserved for the least developed nations. Addressing the shortcomings in assessing climate change risks, President Dr. Moise advocated for revising aid allocation rules and interest rates to better reflect the vulnerabilities of small island developing countries. Failure to do so, he warned, could leave millions of people in these nations vulnerable to displacement and homelessness. President Dr. Moise also showcased Maldives' proactive measures in adapting to climate change, citing initiatives like the environmentally sustainable Hurumale project and the groundbreaking Rasmale eco-city development. Despite these efforts, President Dr. Moise emphasized the critical need for increased financial assistance from climate funds to overcome barriers to implementing such projects. Looking ahead, President Dr. Moise announced Maldives' intention to propose a multidimensional vulnerability index at the upcoming 4th International Conference of Small Island Developing States, SIDS. This index aims to accurately assess climate change risks faced by countries, thereby facilitating access to funding for vital projects. President Dr. Moise underscored the indispensable role of international financial institutions and affluent nations in addressing the urgent climate crisis. Without prompt action, he warned, the lives and livelihoods of 65 million people in small island countries would remain perilously at risk.
Vice President Hussain Mohammad Latif states that teachers and parents have been urged to fulfill their responsibility to build every student as important role models in society. In a post on social media, Vice President extended his best wishes to the students and teachers for the upcoming academic year. He also encouraged the students to achieve further progress with new determination. Additionally, Vice President noted that school and living environment are two important environments linked to students' education and upbringing. Therefore, he urged the teachers and parents to fulfill their responsibility to build every student as important role models in society. The new academic year has begun and the first term will end on September 26th this year. The second term will start on October 6th and the report cards will be given to the students on March 6th next year. The new academic year commences today with over 96,000 students. This year, over 83,000 students will continue pursuing their education in the 217 government schools, while over 13,000 students will seek educations from private schools. Within the Malé city region, the academic year inaugurates with over 17,000 students in government schools and more than 9,000 in private schools. The Ministry of Education reported that 2,250 students have enrolled in first grade, with an additional 2,081 students applying for other grades. Moreover, 1,126 students have transferred from island schools to those in the Malé city region, highlighting that a total of 12,662 teachers will be working in the schools. The ministry stated that this comprises 10,729 locals and 1,933 foreign teachers. It further unveiled that 162 out of the 217 government schools will be single-session schools, while 55 schools will continue to operate in dual sessions. Additionally, 6 schools will implement satellite teaching. Furthermore, the ministry revealed plans to continue training programs for teachers during the new academic year. It also affirmed that the installation of air conditioners in all public schools will commence within the academic year. While the first term of the new academic year began today, the term will conclude on September 26th. Meanwhile, the second term will continue from October 6th to March 6th, 2025. Administrative decisions will have been made to shift the start of future academic years to January, a modification prompted by the change brought to the academic year following the COVID-19 global pandemic. This policy shift will take full effect starting in 2026. Minister of Education Dr. Ismail Shafiu urges students to strive for excellence with utmost responsibility, leveraging golden opportunities in education. His remarks were made during a speech marking the commencement of the new academic year. In his address, Minister Shafiu emphasized the critical importance of broad opportunities for advancement across various fields to significantly contribute to the nation's development. As an initial step in this direction, he announced ongoing efforts to launch programs aimed at increasing student participation in A-level education. These programs will provide both practical and academic training in various technical and vocational fields. The minister also highlighted the importance of collaborative efforts to build a generation that is both academically oriented and skilled. He underscored the significance of positive relationships between schools and parents, expressing confidence that the upcoming academic year would further strengthen these ties with a focus on student progress. Moreover, Minister Shafiu addressed the need for new ideas in the education system to foster children who protect the freedom, sovereignty, and Islamic values of the country. Looking ahead to the new academic year, the minister advised students to prioritize loving Islam, respecting their parents, honoring their teachers, and striving for excellence. He affirmed that learning and teaching can be engaging and enjoyable if schools provide a conducive and happy environment. Additionally, the present administration is proactively working towards creating such an environment by addressing challenges faced by students. A major project to air-conditioned schools will be launched soon, addressing the issues caused by extreme heat in classrooms. Minister Shafiu's speech reflects a comprehensive vision for enhancing the educational experience and fostering a generation equipped to contribute positively to the nation's development. Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Said announces the government's goal to make the Development Bank of the Maldives, DBM, a prominent regional institution. Speaking at a press conference, Minister Said outlined that DBM will be established with the support of international experts. He emphasized the search for a world-class expert to serve as the Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and noted that the bank's board would comprise both international and domestic professionals. He also said that the objective is to position the DBM as a regional landmark. Additionally, Minister Said said that a technical assistance team will be brought to the Maldives to develop the bank's documentation and frameworks. He said that this team will have experience in setting up bank systems in some of the world's most developed countries. Furthermore, Minister Said highlighted the benefits the DBM will bring, including solutions to prevent major projects from stalling due to funding shortages. He said that President Dr. PSMNEWS has committed to offering loans below 5% interest for housing construction in the Maldives. He also said that the DBM aims to establish a robust financial sector in the Maldives, enabling citizens to achieve their aspirations. The DBM was established on May 16th under the authority of President Dr. Moises, with plans to be operational by July. The purpose of the bank is to raise funds for sustainable economic and social development and infrastructure projects in alignment with government policies. It also aims to address funding challenges for public sector investment program PSIP projects through syndicating finance and to enhance the attractiveness of foreign exchange deposits within the domestic banking system. Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Said says that the Free Trade Agreement FTA with China will come into force this year. He made the statement while speaking at a press conference held by the Economic Ministry. Speaking at the press conference, Minister Said said that the Maldives will be able to export 296 types of seafood to China without any tariffs under the agreement. He said that FTA would be submitted to the Parliament of the Maldives for approval. Additionally, Minister Said said the agreement will bring many benefits to Maldivian businessmen. He said that some types of seafood can be imported from China and exported from the Maldives under collecting the price. He also said that the Maldives will also have many opportunities to export products such as fish. Furthermore, Minister Said said talks are underway to establish FTAs with other countries besides China. As such, he said that the agreement with Turkey is expected to be implemented this year. He also said that India has also expressed interest in establishing an FTA with the Maldives. The Maldives signed an FTA with China in 2014. The agreement was approved by the Parliament in 2017, but was delayed until the transition of government in 2018. Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Said reveals plans to hold discussions with the American government during the month of July, aiming to bolster PayPal services in the Maldives and resolve the various challenges individuals encounter in accessing these services. PayPal is an e-wallet or an application designed to facilitate the transfer of money online. Despite the application being utilized by several Maldivians, they have faced issues in obtaining all the services PayPal offers. As such, Maldivians using PayPal are restricted solely to outbound fund transfers with no provision for inbound transactions. Highlighting the commitment of President Dr. Moises to expanding online financial transaction avenues, Minister Said underscored ongoing efforts to introduce diverse e-wallet services nationwide. Confirming a scheduled official trip to the United States on July 10th, the minister revealed intentions to confer with potential digital wallet providers from America. He ensured that the discussions will pertain to address other issues and challenges faced by e-wallet users in the Maldives. Furthermore, Minister Said affirmed that discussions will extend to establishing agreements with prominent digital wallet entities such as PayPal, Google Pay and Apple Pay, and with a view to enhancing the seamless facilitation of online financial transactions. In addition to the e-wallets from America, efforts are underway by the government to introduce digital wallets from other countries. Under these initiatives, the Bank of Maldives, BML, has made arrangements such that dollar transactions from foreign platforms and e-wallet services are available since March 31st. Previously, BML halted these services following the COVID-19 pandemic, aiming to prevent the outflow of foreign currency from the nation. Minister of Fisheries and Ocean Resources Ahmed Shiam reveals that the government has disbursed $57 million to fishermen. The announcement was made during a press conference highlighting the Fisheries Ministry's achievements over the past 6 months. Speaking at the press conference, Minister Shiam stated that as of April 22nd, the government has disbursed $57 million to fishermen, with an addition $4 million still pending. He emphasized the government's commitment to prioritizing the payment of outstanding bills. He also said that the Maldives Industrial Fisheries Company Limited, MIFCO, faces challenges in reducing its fuel expenditure unless there is a reduction in fuel cost. To address energy needs, the government plans to convert 35% of the energy required by MIFCO factories to renewable sources. The Fisheries Ministry is seeking assistance from the World Bank to support the initiative. The government found that $16 million was owed to fishermen upon assuming office. Since then, it has cleared the payments up to April of the previous year. The government has also pledged to ensure that payments to fishermen are made within 48 hours. Minister of Fisheries and Ocean Resources Ahmed Shiam confirms that practical efforts to convert Maldives Industrial Fisheries Company Limited, MIFCO, factories to optimize renewable energy resources will commence later this year. He made these remarks while sharing the ministry's achievements over the past 6 months since the current administration took office. Moreover, Minister Shiam underscored that this initiative significantly aims to reduce expenditures at fish processing factories by amending existing policies, ensuring a lower operational cost for both the factories and fishing vessels. The centric force will be on optimizing renewable energy, with a special priority given to MIFCO factories where the highest expenditures are incurred. He further conveyed that the primary goal is to convert 35% of these expenses to renewable energy. Furthermore, it was also highlighted that efforts are currently underway to convert the fish processing factories in Kudu, in Kaf Alif Atoll and Felivar to renewable energy sources. Additionally, the minister strongly expressed the need for design changes in fishing vessels, aligning with the administration's aim to substantially decrease the export of raw fish and increase value-added processing. This initiative remarkably reflects the present administration's unwavering commitment to sustainable practices and cost efficiencies in the fisheries sector. The boss of Total Energies tells shareholders that new oil fields had to be developed to meet a global demand as the annual meetings of the French energy giant and one of its biggest shareholders were picketed by climate activists.
Police said they detained 173 people among hundreds who gathered outside the Paris headquarters of Amundi, one of the world's biggest investment managers and a major Total Energy shareholder. Climate activists also gathered hours before the Total Energy's annual general meeting opened. Greenpeace members unfurled a wanted banner calling its chief Patrick Pouyanné the leader of France's most polluting company. The banner was quickly taken down by police. Several hundred activists belonging to Extinction Rebellion gathered outside Amundi for its general meeting. A few dozen protesters forced their way into Amundi's tower block, daubing graffiti on the walls and smashing some windows, police said. Amundi said 8 of its security staff were injured. The activists say Total Energies is contributing to global warming and the destruction of biodiversity through its gas and oil activities. Pouyanné told shareholders that higher oil prices prompted by insufficient fossil fuel output would quickly become unbearable for the populations in emerging countries but also in their developed countries. He said the demand for oil was growing in line with the global population. But Pouyanné said Total Energies would pursue its balanced strategy of developing both fossil fuel and low-carbon energy production. He said that Total Energies had proved it was possible to be a profitable or even the most profitable company while pursuing a transformation toward clean energy. At the meeting, nearly 80% of shareholders approved the company's climate strategy, with more than 75% also voting to renew Pouyanné as CEO for 3 years.
The premiers of China and Japan arrives in Seoul for their first trilateral summit in 5 years, which is expected to focus on economic issues rather than sensitive geopolitics.
Chinese Premier Li Qiang and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida are scheduled to meet with South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol separately Sunday afternoon in the South Korean capital. On Monday, the 3 leaders will hold a trilateral meeting, the first such encounter in 5 years, partly thanks to the pandemic but also due to long-strained ties between Seoul and Tokyo. Yoon, who took office in 2022, has sought to bury the historical hatchet with former colonial power Japan in the face of rising threats from nuclear-armed North Korea. Since the last trilateral summit, our regional and global landscapes have vastly changed, Kishida said before departing for Seoul, saying the new meeting was highly significant. Yoon is set to hold a bilateral meeting with Lee, who is making his first visit to South Korea since taking office in March 2023, followed by one with Kishida. The 3 leaders will have a dinner together Sunday evening. But experts have warned that due to the 3 countries' starkly divergent positions on key issues including Pyongyang's nuclear threats and growing ties with Russia, it will be hard for them to form a consensus. But Seoul and Tokyo, which are key regional security allies of China's arch-rival Washington, are looking to improve relations and trade plus ease tension with Beijing, experts say. Despite North Korea conducting ever more advanced weapons tests and China staging military drills around Taiwan, experts expect the summit to ignore security issues and seek common ground for easy diplomatic wins. China is North Korea's largest trading partner and a key diplomatic ally, and it has previously resisted condemning Pyongyang for its weapons tests, instead of criticizing joint US-South Korea drills.
In a Beirut car park, migrant workers cheer as their teams face off in a cricket tournament. A moment of respite in crisis-hit Lebanon, where working conditions are often tough.
Every Sunday, players mainly from Sri Lanka but also from the Philippines, India and Pakistan gather in Beirut's Ashrafi neighborhood to play cricket, a little-known sport in Lebanon. Migrant workers are employed under Lebanon's controversial kafala sponsorship system, which rights groups have repeatedly denounced, saying that it enables a wide range of abuses. On May 19th, several hundred people gathered for a tournament that also brought together traditional food stalls, a DJ playing Bollywood hits and other music, teams from the British and Sri Lankan embassies, and young Syrian refugee players. Iris Sagario from the Philippines ran into the field for the Roaring Lions women's team, wearing an orange and blue shirt with her name printed on the back. After winning their match, Sagario's team broke out into cheers, hugging and high-fiving each other. They went on to take the women's trophy. More than 160,000 migrants from 84 nationalities were in Lebanon last year, according to a report from the International Organization for Migration. With daily bombardment in South Lebanon as Hezbollah and the Israeli army clash amid tensions over the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza, some foreign embassies have advised their nationals to leave the country. Curious passers-by sometimes peered over a tumble-down stone wall to watch the matches. Organizer Fernando Sugat from Sri Lanka said that some players nicknamed the car park they have been using for around 2 decades Lords of Lebanon, a reference to the famous Lords cricket ground in London, which is known as the home of cricket. Sugat said that matches in the car park were halted for 5 years when the players lost access to the site but resumed in 2022.
SpaceX announces that Starship, the world's most powerful rocket, is set for its next test flight on June 5th.
It will be the 4th test for the sleek mega rocket, which is vital to NASA's plans for landing astronauts on the moon later this decade, and to SpaceX CEO Elon Musk's hopes of eventually colonizing Mars. 3 previous attempts have ended in the Starship's destruction, all part of what the company says is an acceptable cost in its rapid trial and error approach to development. SpaceX said in a statement that the 4th flight turns their focus from achieving orbit to demonstrating the ability to return and reuse Starship and Super Heavy. Super Heavy is the booster, while Starship refers to both the upper stage and the 2 stages combined. The flight path will be similar to the 3rd test, which took place in March and saw Starship fly halfway around the globe before it was eventually lost as it re-entered the atmosphere over the Indian Ocean. This time around, SpaceX hopes to achieve a soft splashdown for the booster stage in the Gulf of Mexico and a controlled entry for the upper stage. Designed to eventually be fully reusable, Starship stands 121 meters tall with both stages combined. Its Super Heavy booster produces 16.7 million pounds of thrust, almost double that of the world's second most powerful rocket, NASA's Space Launch System, though the latter is now certified while Starship is still a prototype. SpaceX's strategy of carrying out tests in the real world rather than in labs has paid off in the past. Its Falcon 9 rockets have come to be workhorses for NASA in the commercial sector. Its Dragon capsule sends astronauts and cargo to the International Space Station, and its Starlink internet satellite constellation now covers dozens of countries.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant day ahead. ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿಗೆ ದಾಯಿರಾಯಿ ಹಫ್ತಾ ತೆರೆಗ ಫಾಹಕೊಲ್ಲವೆ ಮುಹಿಮ ಮೌಲುಮಾತ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ತಕುಂ ದಂಡುವರಿಕಂಗೆ ಸಿನಾತುಗೆ ಮಸಕೆತಕುಂ ಬಾಜಾರನ್ನಿರೆ ಮುದಾ
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸೈಟುಗ ಗ್ಯಾಗಣಗ $7 ಮಿಲಿಯನ್ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾ ಡಾಲರ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕುರ್ಮಾ